Today we have an Astra theme tutorial. So Astra theme for WordPress, still one of the best WordPress themes, especially if you're looking for a free theme for WordPress. Now, this is what we've put together today. It doesn't take very long using a free Astra starter template. I'm using some of these flat graphic illustrations. I'll show you how to get some really cool free illustrations that you can use for your website as well later on. So we're going to put this together. I'll cover everything, headers, footers, using the page editor. I'm going to be using the default WordPress editor. I'm not going to use Elementor at all. This is going to be different from most other YouTubers. Most other YouTube videos will use Elementor as it is a bit more newbie friendly, but it is a bit slower. Let's be honest. If you use the standard WordPress editor, the Gutenberg editor that we're going to use today, you'll get faster page loading scores. I'll go into those a little bit later in the video, so I'll show you exactly what I mean. But this is what we're going to build, and it looks good on mobile as well. Completely mobile responsive, and that was really easy to set up when you stick with the templates and the wireframes and patterns that come default with the free version of Astra. Probably the thing that makes Astra stand out from its competition is its free library of starter templates. There are loads of free designs that you can load up and get started with a project, get really fast results. And so we're going to use one of those today. There are lots to choose from: e-commerce, blogs, lots of different business templates. So you can probably find something that will match your project pretty much straight away. That is its main strength. So we'll go through that as well. So if all this sounds interesting, then keep watching. All right, so I'm just starting with a fresh install of WordPress here, and we're going to go to our dashboard, and then we'll just head over to Appearance and Themes. From here, we go to Add New, and generally you'll see the Astra theme under the popular tab there. It's the most popular theme at the moment, so it's pretty easy to find. You can also just type Astra in there, and you'll be able to search it up. So either way is cool. Let's go ahead and install Astra. When that's all done, you click Activate. As soon as Astra activates, you'll get this option here to get started with a starter template. So let's click that one. So now the starter template plugin is active. We can choose our page builder. There are 4 that we can choose from. Now, most YouTubers are going to use Elementor. Elementor is a little bit easier to learn, but the performance is not quite as good as Gutenberg is the default one that comes with WordPress. We can see our WordPress logo there. This is the one I'd encourage you to use. I'll talk a little bit more about why we're going to choose Gutenberg in just a second. Now, at this point, I'll just do a quick 1-minute comparison between Gutenberg with Astra and Elementor with Astra. So I'll do a quick 1-minute comparison, and then we'll come back to this point and continue the tutorial. All right, so the reason I prefer Gutenberg ahead of the other page builders, and particularly ahead of Elementor, is Gutenberg's the default WordPress editor. It doesn't add any plugins, doesn't add any extra code to your website. So therefore it does perform a little better, and it's loading faster than the other choices. So let's look at this public speaker starter site, because this public speaker site is available from Astra, and it's available on Gutenberg. It's also available on Elementor. They're basically the identical versions of the same site. So we've got the Elementor version here and the Gutenberg version here. We can run them through Google PageSpeed Insights. We've got the Gutenberg version here running at 98 on mobile, and the Elementor version running significantly slower. So we've got the first contentful page 3.5 seconds there, 1.1 seconds. So significant speed improvement just by using Gutenberg. You've got the same looking site. It's obviously a little bit more of a learning curve using Gutenberg compared to Elementor, but it's worth doing that because of the performance benefit. So hopefully from there you can see why I'd recommend Gutenberg ahead of Elementor. And actually it's not that hard to use Gutenberg nowadays with Astra, provided that you stick with one of these starter templates and you utilize a lot of Astra's pre-built blocks and wireframes, which I'm going to do in this tutorial just to keep things as simple as possible and you don't get frustrated trying to work with Gutenberg. So let's continue on with our tutorial. From here, we can choose the starter templates to choose from. Let's just choose the free one. So let's just highlight the free one there. Straight away, you can see that there are loads of choices to choose from. I'm actually going to go with this web agency one. It's a very new. I haven't seen this one since I've used Astra last time, so I want to try this one. I quite like the styling here. It's very contemporary in its design, so I think I want to go with this one. It looks quite tidy as well. Hopefully this loads fast. So let's go ahead and import the complete site. Here, Astra, they're trying to collect a bit of data for their development. So you can just say, I'm a beginner, I'm building a website for myself, click next, and then click skip. You don't have to sign up to that stuff. It'll start importing your website. So it'll take a few seconds to import, and then we can view our site. So this is what we've got so far, all loaded up on our site. So the other reason I really wanted to try this was when I installed Astra, I saw that this was their actual thumbnail that they used to promote the theme. So I think this would be a nice one to choose from. Obviously, if they're promoting this one, this must be a pretty good experience to use. So I'm going to try this one out. The first thing I like to do with these Astra starter sites is go to our customizer. I'm going to turn on some performance options here in the customizer. We'll see we've got performance here. Let's click that one. We want to turn that on. Turn on Google Fonts locally and turn on preload local fonts. We hit publish on that and we flush the local font files. So this is going to speed up the page load just by loading the fonts locally. So now that we've made that small tweak, let's just test the Google page speed at the moment and see how we're running. So here we've got a 91 on mobile, which is pretty good. And on desktop, we've got a 99, which is very nice as well. So the 91 on the mobile is not quite as good as the one we tested earlier, the public speaker website, but still, I think this is quite good. And it does look quite attractive on mobile, I think, as well. Anyway, let's get back to customizing this site. Let's head to our dashboard. You can get there in the top. You'll see the dashboard link there. I'm going to head to settings under permalinks. Now, I like to use post name as my permalink setting. There's a few different options, but this is the best one for Google, and it looks very more clean and simple as well. So go with post name, and I'm going to save that in. The other thing I like to do is under settings and general, and here we've got our title and our tagline. So just make sure that you've got those customized to your liking. The default tagline is usually just another WordPress site, so I'm going to change that to WordPress tips and tutorials. I'm okay with this title, but just set those up as you like and save that in. Then let's head to our customizer. That's under appearance and customize. So our customizer gives us the ability to work on the headers and footers. So the footer is down here, and the header up here includes our logo, our menu, and our social icons. So let's work on that. First thing I'll do, let's go to site identity. We can do our site title and logo settings. Now here it says our logo on this page is from the transparent header section. So we have to click customize transparent header. And this is the header we've got here. See, the white color is the white color there. So we're going to change that image, and we can go ahead and upload one of our own logos that we've made. I'm going to upload a white logo that I made earlier. This is it here. We can choose that one. And there's my new logo. It's a little bit big, and so we can adjust the width of it down here. I'm going to make it 60 pixels. So that looks about right. If you're wanting to make a simple logo with a transparent background, I found logomaker.com. That's logomakr.com. Does a pretty good job of making simple transparent logos for these kind of applications. Otherwise, just use your favorite image editing software. And let's continue on here. So we've got our menu. So let's click the menu here. So here we've got a link to configure the menu, and we click that one. And here we've got our primary menu. This is the menu that we see up along here. So let's click edit. So here we can see we've got home, about, services, reviews, etc. This lines up to what we're seeing up here. So we can actually add and remove things from that menu. So if I wanted to remove the services link, I could just click the X there, and we can see that we've actually removed that one. And if you want to add things, you can add items, obviously, by adding any pages that you've created. You click the plus button to add things on here. You can actually add posts, and you can add custom links as well. So any link you like, you can add that to the menu. So go ahead and add anything you like there. Later on in the tutorial, I'll actually make a new page by adding a new page. We can actually add new pages to the menu as well from pages that we create ourselves. The other thing worth learning at this point is to make a sub-menu. So let's say we wanted to move reviews and FAQ into a sub-menu under the about. So we can actually drag these around a little bit so that they're indented, and that will create a sub-menu. I'll show you what I mean. So let's move this FAQ so it's just behind the about. It can be a little bit fiddly. That looks okay. And I'll drag that reviews under there too. So we've got about, reviews, and FAQ all in the one menu, and we can see we've got a drop down there. The problem is that because we've got white text and our background color is set to white, we can't read our menu. So we need to fix that. So if we actually head to that pencil icon there, we can design our menu. So we've got our designing the primary menu. What we actually want to do is design the transparent menu, because we're working on a transparent menu here. So let's go back and customize the transparent header. That's the link we want. You can get that to there under header builder, and we've got customized transparent header. So just make sure you know where that is. Click on design, and here we've got submenu, text, and link. So let's add a color here. We can choose the global colors. So let's go for black and maybe gray as our hover color. So I recommend choosing global colors. You can edit that global palette. We'll do that a little bit later, but now when we go there, we've got reviews and FAQ in our sub menu. That's actually a nice little upgrade because the free version of Astra didn't used to have any customization of the sub menu. You used to have to do that with CSS code. So this is a nice little addition that they've made since I've last used it. The other thing we can do up here is let's work on these social icons. So we can go ahead and add and remove things. So I might add a YouTube one. We're obviously using YouTube right now, so let's add that in. And the one I don't tend to use is Twitter. I'm not a big Twitter fan, but these are our social icons. And then all we have to do is add the relevant link to each one. So for YouTube, I just paste my YouTube URL in there. So youtube.com/c/ideaspot is my YouTube link, but just put in your relevant links for those social media pages. The other thing you can do if you want to make these a bit more prominent is actually show the label there. And that will add the full label there for each of the social media pages. I think that's a bit overkill for my taste. I think people know what these are by now. The other major upgrade they've made in Astra is this header is made up of 3 rows now. So there's 3 sections and 3 rows. So there's a total of 9 areas where you can add menus, buttons, text, that kind of stuff. So you just go ahead, click on, this is the top row. All these things are on the main row and there's a bottom row down there. So let's add something to the top row. Let's just add some HTML, for example. And then we could click that. Now we could just add in some stuff there. So that's what you mean. That's what I mean. So make that smaller. Anyway, you get the idea. I'd rather just keep this fairly simple, but you can add lots of things to that header now that there's so many more areas you can work with. Now let's head down to our footer. Let's look at that footer. So we've got that down here. So as we can see, clicking on that actual footer there brings us to our footer design. And we can see this whole thing is footer. Now, I actually don't like having so much content in the footer. You might be different, but I think I'd rather, if I'm using WordPress, I'd rather use the block editor to do this kind of work rather than putting all this in the customizer with the footer. So I think I'd just have a small copyright message, maybe some contact info down there, but I wouldn't put the Google map and the hours and the all this menu and stuff down here. I don't think that's helpful. Personally, I'll just clean this up by just removing those things. So just the X there, you can remove them. I'm just going to remove those things. The one thing I will customize is just that copyright info down the bottom there. So we can click that one and we've got copyright info there. So you can type whatever you want in here. By default, you've got copyright 2021, the site title. So 2021 Idea Spot and then powered by Astra. You could delete that part out, I think, powered by Astra, just leave it as copyright Idea Spot. And I think that's cool. You could add some stuff there if you want, up to you, but I think just keep it nice and simple for this demo and hit publish. But again, if you want to add custom stuff to this footer, you can do that if you like. So you can add widgets and HTML, social icons, footer menu, all those things you can add there, but I prefer just to keep it simple. If I want to add content, I'll just add content to the bottom of the page using the normal page editor. Finally, I'll show you how to tweak the typography and the colors of our theme. So that is, we head back, and from back on our main menu here, we've got global. We can change our typography and colors here. So let's go typography first. The 2 main things you'd want to look at here are the body font and the heading font. So heading font here is Poppins. We can change that to whatever you want. So if we wanted Roboto, we could change that to Roboto, and body font changes to Roboto there. I thought Poppins was actually better. So let's change it back to Poppins, and we can see our body font changes back to Poppins. Now our heading font. The heading font at the moment is Montserrat, and it's set to bold 700 for H1. So we can actually change that. The heading font family is Montserrat, so we could change. Let's try Lato. And there we go, change to Lato. Now it's Lato. We've noticed it's dropped to normal 400. If we wanted something as bold as it was before, boost that back up to 700. So now we've got Lato bold 700. And H2 is Lato bold 700 H3. So it's inheriting those values from the previous one, from the heading font family, which is very handy. Now, honestly, I did prefer Montserrat, so I might actually just go ahead and change that one back. Now, you can get quite detailed in here, changing line heights, having individual fonts for different levels of heading, having different sizes for each different level and weights for different levels. I don't think that's really worth spending too much time on. Just stick with the current design, maybe change the font type, but that's probably about all I would change here. I'll keep the weights the same. I think this design looks balanced as it is. You just tweak it a little bit to suit your taste. Next step, we can head over to colors. So that's here. So here we've got 3 palettes to choose from. You can customize these palettes, and these are the global colors which match these descriptions. So the first one that we've got set up by default uses purple as our link hover color, and we've got these yellow highlights for our buttons. So we could change it to this one or this one. They're all just a little bit subtly different. I think let's go with the number 2. And if we publish this, if we wanted to be a little bit more conservative, we could just change this yellow and orange to be another shade of blue. So maybe let's start with this shade of blue. Just copy that out. There we go. And I'm going to pop that in here. And I'll make that a little bit lighter. There we go. Same with this one. Let's make that a little bit lighter again. There. So that's a little bit more conservative rather than the flashier yellow. So up to you. I might leave it for this example and then publish when you're done. The only other thing I don't like is that the headings are a little bit gray. I'd rather just have a solid black as our heading color. So let's click that one and click the black from our global color there. And that's changed all our headings to solid black. I think that's a little better. And I'd prefer the text color to be a little bit darker as well. So I think we can choose that one. And perhaps we make that a little bit darker. Cool. All right. So again, don't get too crazy with these palettes. I'd just keep it fairly conservative. I like to use blues and grays, black and white, but totally up to you. So that covers our colors and our fonts in our customizer. One other little thing, I just want to make this header into a full width header. So let's go back to our header builder. There is a design option here, full width or content width. We can change it to full width and it spaces out our header a bit more. I kind of prefer that, but that's just a design choice really. Now that we've covered off on the basics of using our customizer, we can start actually looking at editing this page. So I'm going to head over to our page here, and you can access the editor just by clicking the edit page one here. Now this will bring us to our block editor, also known as Gutenberg. So feel free to explore here. You can basically click any of the blocks and edit the content of them. You'll notice it doesn't really look what it looks like on the browser when you're viewing it live. To preview the page, you can use the preview feature there and preview in a new tab. This will allow us to scroll through and look at how it's progressing. By default, we've got the desktop view here. If we're using Google Chrome like I am, you can right click and inspect, and you can change the device. It'll emulate various devices such as the iPhone X and the Pixel Galaxy S5, those kind of things. And you can have a look at how it responds on a mobile device as well. I'll close out of that and go back to desktop view. But let's start editing our page. Basically what I'll do in this is edit the things that I like and just remove the blocks that I don't want on the page. So I'm just going to change the text there, idea spot tutorials, and we can change this image. Just click on the image. We've got a replace option there. We can take anything from our media library, or we can upload pictures from our drive. I'm going to open the media library. I've uploaded a few different graphics here. If you're wondering where I got these images, I got an image pack from freeillustrations.xyz. They've got some really cool designer work here in that popular flat illustration style. So I'm going to use these kind of images on this website here. So let's go ahead and insert one of these and see what that looks like. There we go. The nice thing about these illustration styles is you can choose the format on this site, and you can choose SVG, which gives you quite interesting designs in very small image sizes. So if we actually look at what this image is in terms of its size, you can see here, these are quite small. That's only a 16 kilobyte image. If we were to compare that to a photograph such as this one here, that one is 144 kilobytes. So you can save quite a lot of loading time by just choosing simple illustrations. So I'm going to go with that for now. And let's see what we can do with this background. So we've got different gradients we can choose from, and we can customize the gradient ourselves by clicking the color swatch there. So I might go with just a blue. That looks pretty cool. If I wanted to be even more particular about these blues, I could actually match them to the blues that we chose before from our customizer. So I could just go and grab that particular shade of blue and click on there and replace it with the shade that we used before. There we go. I'll do the other one as well and see what that looks like. That nice light blue. There we go. You'll notice we even have arrows here so we can undo and redo things as we go and see what the effect is. We can also go ahead and re-preview again and see what it looks like in the actual website fully loaded. Now, sometimes just clicking around and changing things works well, but sometimes it can be a little bit confusing figuring out what exactly you're trying to do. You can look at this list view here, and that will open up all the things that the page is made up of. And you can scroll around and see exactly the configuration that they've used to build this page. Let's say I didn't really want this block with the orange icons and those bits of text. So I could try and remove that, just find the group that it's associated to. So we could see this is the group here. And if we wanted to remove that whole group, we could just remove that block. And besides removing things completely, you can change the order of things as well. So how about instead of putting the Why Choose Us below About Us, we could move Why Choose Us up one more level. So let's find that section. So we've got a group here, which contains all of this. In there, we've got this group, we've got a spacer, then we've got this one called Media and Text. So this is a Media and Text block. You've got media there, which is the picture, text, which is this part here. And we can actually move those up and down with these little arrows. So I'll move those up. There we go. So we've got our Why Choose Us block above the About Us block now. If we go ahead and reload our site on the live site, we can see how we've made the progress. So let's go back and let's actually change some of this text. So this is just filler text. We can change it to our own content like that. I might change the heading first. Some IdeaSpot provides tutorials and training, and then put a little bit of text about why we choose IdeaSpot here. There we go. I'll hit update and then refresh here. And we can see our new text. Next thing we might look at is this button here. So if we head back to our editor, we can see the button links to the contact info here. So it's hash contact. These buttons effectively let people scroll around the page by putting these little anchors on the page. So these are internal linking anchors that let you, for example, this one will scroll right down to the bottom there where the contact info should go. So we can see here on our list view, the about link is there. The services link is this one here, our services. The about is this section here that we built earlier, and the contact is down the bottom. It should be. We've got reviews there, FAQ there, and contact is down here. So this is where we'd want to put our contact info later on. But for now, let's just do a little bit more work on these. I think we can just replace these images with other images just to show you how to do that. So you basically just click it, click replace as we did earlier, and let's stick with our illustration style that we were using. Maybe this one is cool, and let's go with maybe that one. All right, let's update and reload here. So it looks a little bit more customized. Now let's get back to working on that button again. So I want to make a contact area, so let's make a new block down the bottom. Now we can start building, say, like a media and text block from scratch. That's one way of doing it. I think that's a little bit more work than it needs to be. We can actually use the starter templates, have some patterns that are pre-built, and they have wireframes as well, which has some pre-set up layouts. This will save you a lot of work. Just pick a design that's already set up. These look good on all devices, so fully mobile responsive, and they've obviously had a professional designer work on these and get them looking just right. They even have quite common style blocks here in that list. So I'm going to choose a contact block and then choose something that might be useful for what we want to do here. So let's maybe go with this one. So this contact block sort of implies that we've got two locations on these two columns. So I might have a look at that in more detail. So we've basically got a column there. If we look on our list view, and a column here, I might just remove that column. So once that column is selected, we can remove the block. Now we've just got the two. The other thing you're probably thinking is, what on earth is this here? This is the Google map that has been embedded there. So I might hit update and I'll show you what I mean. So if we reload here, we can see that we've got a Google map embedded at the bottom of the page. Now this is pointing to Brooklyn. We obviously want to change that to our own location. So you just go to Google Maps yourself and just pick a spot, an address that you want to use on your map. Then we click share, then we click embed, and we just copy that HTML. That is the same sort of code that we actually put in here. So we can just replace that, just highlight it, delete it, and replace it with your own code that you got from Google Maps. If we hit update, we can see if we refresh our page here, we should get our new map of our new location. And we'll change the picture of that building. We'll change that to something of our own. Probably the mailbox would be appropriate for a contact section. So we'll pop that in there. Now it looks like it's added the picture, but the picture is very small. So let's see if we change that to 100%. And let's go ahead and update and then reload this page and see what we've got. There's our contact. So that looks decent. And we'd obviously go ahead and change all the text there to match up with the relevant info of our own contact. But you get the idea. Now, our main goal was to have that contact button actually linked to this position on the page. So let's select that group there. And what we want to do is go to advanced, and you've got this section called HTML anchor. And I want to anchor that to the contact button. So I'm just going to call that one contact. And now when we update it, we should be able to see that I'll reload here. And all these buttons that link to the contact will actually just shoot us right down to that contact section there. So same as that one there. We can see it links to contact and brings us down to the contact block. So you can basically link to any point on the page by using that kind of link. So you've got that contact. You can see the anchor is there on our listing view. We can go at any point. We can go back to advanced. We can use another name, and anytime we want to link to any position on the page, we just simply add that link. Let's say I wanted to link that to contact as well. Just put that in there. And that's an internal link. The other thing we can do is make external links, obviously, as well. If I wanted to link to, say, this page, another page, or another page on my website, we can pop in another link there, and you'll be able to link to that other place. So, like I said, reload there. Now I've got that linking to the free illustrations page. Not yet. I think we have to click update and reload. There we go. That is linking through to this page. So you can set up links internally or externally like we've done here. But the main lesson to get out of this is adding new sections. That by far the easiest way is adding it in through the Astra pre-built starter template blocks. Are pre-built. These always look good. It's going to save you a lot of work. Just customize these to your own content, either using patterns or wireframes. Both work well. So the other thing is, this is obviously a fairly simple one-page website where all the links are just internally on the same page. So we can go to reviews by going there, for example. But we don't have any other pages on the website. So what if we wanted to add another page to this site? I think the quickest way to do that is just clone a copy of this page and then change the content. Then we can keep the same sort of work that we've done on this one and just add more to our website. So I'll show you how to do that. So in our WordPress dashboard, I'm under plugins and add new. If you search for the word duplicate, you've got a few different duplication plugin options. I like this one called Yoast Duplicate Post. It has 4 million active installations. Very, very common, very good plugin. We can head over to pages here. We can look at all our pages. And now with that Yoast Duplicate page plugin active, we can see we've got, if we hover under our page, we can see we've got the clone option there. So I'll click clone. And it's created a draft version copy of that page. So I'm going to quick edit there. I'm going to call this one about. Let's make a dedicated about page. So we'll hit update and let's go edit here. Now that we're in our editor, we can just, the first thing I'll do is check under the page tab there, check the permalink. It's called about. Just make sure that you're happy with the name. That'll be the name of the link there. If we click that one, we can see it loads up. And that's after we publish it. It'll do that anyway. There we go. So we can actually view the page, and it's that /about. So if you're not happy with that permalink, you want to change it to a different name, you can change it in there under permalink. But I'd basically just put the about details in here, like that, about us, and just remove anything that's not relevant to this section. Maybe just change something to make it look a little bit different from the other pages. Pop that in there, for example. Hit update, and I don't want the button there. But basically go through and make this into a different page, the about page. I'll just remove the things that aren't relevant to what we're working on here. So use the list view, grab the blocks that you don't need it, and go ahead and just remove those blocks. Pretty straightforward. Only takes a few seconds. When you're done, update, we can have a look what we've got. There we go. And now we could actually add this dedicated About Us page to the menu here. So I might copy that link here, and we can go back to our customizer. Let's go to our menu. There we go. The primary menu, and the About here is a custom link at the moment. What we could do is change that custom link to the link that we've created there and publish it. The other way we could do it, we could add an item, and you can actually just add the About page in that way as well. So you can use a custom link, or you could just use a page link. Both ways will work. That creates another one in there, but I'm not going to use that one. I might just remove that one. There we go. Hit publish, and now if we're on our home page, we can let's reload, And we can see if we click about there, that'll take us to our about page. We can go back to our home page. We can still move around our home page. And even if we're on the about page, if we use that submenu, that will take us back to the home page, to the facts section on the home page. So all runs really nicely. One last little tweak that I forgot to mention during the video is the button colors. You can do global buttons. I should have mentioned that earlier. So if we are in our customizer, you can go global and buttons, and the buttons I think would be better with white text here. So I'm going to change that to white text. So, and then you can have the hover color. So when it hovers, it's gray text, and non-hover is white text. So I think that's good. Same with these background colors of the button itself. The button will be lighter when you hover. So you can play around with those and then hit publish when you're done. But I think this looks a little bit better. So at this point in the tutorial, you've basically got all you need. You can build the header, you can build the footer, you can put all the content in, move it around, remove it completely, add new content through wireframes and pre-built sections, and customize everything as you like. So that's really all we need to get started with Astra and the Astra Starter templates. And using this method with this theme and these kind of illustrations, it's going to load really fast. I think just for fun, let's run this through PageSpeed Insight. So let's go ahead and put the About page on Google PageSpeed Insights and see how this goes. Should be done in just a second here. Let's see what we get. A 92 on the mobile and a 99 on the desktop. So pretty nice. We've got a first contentful paint in 1.2, which is really good. So that's usually the most difficult one. We need to keep that under 2.5 seconds. So well under where we need to be for our load time. Okay, now for our conclusions on the Astra theme. So using the free version of Astra is still really quite good in 2021. Going into 2022, I still see Astra being a solid choice. The speed using the Gutenberg builder here was very good. Still 90 plus in Google PageSpeed Insights. You still need good hosting. Something like Cloudways would be a good way of getting these kind of scores. I'll put a link in the description so you can get a free trial to some good hosting options. So check that out. 180 plus templates. A lot of those are in the free version, even e-commerce websites, blogs. Astra has the advantage when it comes to having a big range of free starter templates. So I think that is where Astra really shines. And using Gutenberg this year, I think it's been much easier. I would say Astra is quite usable now, especially using the pre-built wireframes and patterns and combining them with the pre-built Gutenberg sites. That was quite easy to put a site together, as we saw during the tutorial. And the customizer has improved a lot, especially the menus, having 3 layers of menus, being able to put lots of things in the menus very easily. I quite like that. Lots more options in terms of customizing colors and fonts and different aspects of the header and footer. They've given us a lot more in the free version. You used to get those in the pro version, but now they've delivered a lot of those in the free version. I think that is because of Cadence Theme. Cadence Theme last year gave us a lot of these things in the free version. So I think Astra has improved a lot in that area just to keep in touch with its competition. So moving on from Astra, I think Cadence Theme is the other really good choice in terms of what's the best free and fast theme. I think Cadence does tend to be a little bit faster, but I think the advantage with Astra is the designs, the templates, and the patterns and wireframes does make it quite easy to work with and get results in terms of productivity. So Astra, very good choice still. It's the most popular theme for a reason, so I still quite like it. I think it's still a top theme to use, especially if you want a free theme for WordPress. From here, you should probably check out the Cadence theme. I'll put the video up on the end screen, and also Cloudways hosting, just setting up Cloudways hosting with WordPress. If you want to transfer from a slow host over to a fast host, that's a good video to watch. I'll put that on the end screen here, but thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.